This is the evening news of Friday, August 29, 2014. I'm Michael Young. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines tonight, Ramatar urges Granger to return missing GDF weapons. CJ squashes decision to send Sober on leave. Ex-city constable died from drowning. New pump band stationed for Lima village and laborer feared dead after plunging into canal. It's now time for the news in detail. Let's tell you first that President Donald Ramatar has said that there is a lot more time before he can proceed to call snap elections. Details in this report. President Donald Ramatar says that while there is no hurry to name a date for snap elections in Guyana, his party is confident of returning with a majority government.
Whenever elections are held, whether it be held tomorrow, whether it be held next week, whether it be held next year, whether it be held in 2016, that the PPP will regain its majority in the National Assembly.
You think so?
I'm confident, very confident of that. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
The president also raised concerns about the preliminary list of electors, which is purportedly padded. He urged GCOM to rectify the issues on the list.
I do know that there are issues with the list. I do know that there are issues with the list because if the list is based on a house-to-house registration in 2008, that was done in 2008, how is it that these people who died before 2008, that there are people who died before 2008 appearing on the list? These are things of concern. These are some of the things that must concern us. That there's quite a bit of people, I understand from the reports that I've been having from our party workers in the field, that they're finding people who died before the house-to-house registration took place, and you're finding those people's names on the list. I haven't seen a proper explanation for that as yet. Because I heard one of the saying that maybe Arthur Chung wasn't reported to the Elections Commission by the registrar's office that he died, and that's why his name is still on the list. But that doesn't explain to me, if the list is based on the house-to-house registration in 2008, how people's names who died before that are appearing on the list. That's the issue that is of concern.
The PPP has challenged the preliminary list, saying that it is padded with opposition supporters. GCOM has since reaffirmed that it stands by the information provided on the list. The PPP says that it is a matter of concern and the Guyana Elections Commission needs to get off of its laurels and do what is best in the interest of having a clean and sanitized list. For the Evening News, Michael Young reporting. In this report, we hear that President Donald Ramatar is calling on opposition leader David Granger to locate the 155 weapons that went missing from the Army during the PNC's rule. Details in this report.
At a media conference today, President Donald Ramatar said that since opposition leader David Granger was the commander-in-chief of the Guyana Defence Force at the time when the 155 weapons were issued and went missing, then he should make an effort to facilitate their replacements. The president noted that in a lot of cases, those missing weapons and ones that went missing subsequently have found themselves in the hands of the criminal community.
It is very, very clear. It's not only the 155 weapons that are out there, but also the ones that have been missing the ones that have been missing more recently during the crime spree, the 31 AK-47 that went missing. But this is a lot of weapons that are out there at this point in time, and this is these weapons have found themselves in the hands of criminals. Already you've seen from that bunch that was given to the PNC that some were found in the hands of criminals when you had the shootout in Mahaika or Maikoni during the crime spree. And it is also opposite to note that when the 5 escapees made their break, they didn't break and enter into any armory, yet they were very, very well equipped.
Ramatar went on to say that over the years his government has made a lot of efforts to locate these weapons.
Law enforcement agencies continuously will try to recoup those weapons. Whatever weapon, I'm not speaking only about those weapons, but all the illegal weapons on the road, all the illegal weapons in the society, all the weapons in the hands of criminals, it is the task of the law enforcement agencies to continue work to try to get them back.
At the Commission of Inquiry into the death of historian Walter Rodney, it was revealed some 155 weapons issued by the GDF in the 1970s are still outstanding. This revelation was made by the head of the intelligence unit of the Guyana Defence Force, Lieutenant Colonel Sidney James, who told the tribunal that while those guns have not yet been recovered, no word has been given for searches to be carried out for their recovery. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manekchan.
Acting Chief Justice Ian Chang late this afternoon ruled that the mayor and city councillors lacked the authority to send acting town clerk Carol Sober on administrative leave. After hearing the news, Mayor Green today appeared to be blue. Details in this report.
Acting Chief Justice Ian Chang today nullified a recent decision by the mayor and the city council to send acting town clerk Carol Sober on administrative leave. The Chief Justice in the ruling said that the City Council lacked the authority to send Suba, who is an officer of the Council, on leave. City Mayor Hamilton Green and some city councillors recently voted in favor of a no-confidence motion against Suba. Despite the motion, Suba stood her ground at City Council, enduring barricaded doors and other forms of embarrassment.
We're quite satisfied by the ruling of the Honourable Chief Justice today. The Honourable Chief Justice ruled that the City Council has no power to take any administrative steps to have Ms. Suba sent on administrative leave. All the decisions that they have taken in that regard, the court ruled today that is ultra vires, which means that it's beyond their power. So Ms. Suba remains the town clerk.
Shortly after the ruling, the Evening News spoke to Suba, who had this to say.
The ruling was as expected, and I'll make a copy. It's in favor of the town clerk of Georgetown, and I'm happy about it. My competent lawyer was able to represent me properly. So,
do you feel vindicated by the ruling by the
I do.
City Mayor Hamilton Green said he was not aware that an application of the sort was filed by Suba, hence the ruling is a surprise to him.
Rather unusual and inconsistent with the natural rules of justice. As you just heard, any matter of that nature require both sides to be able to present their case to the judge or whichever agency is to make a judgment. We are unaware of any such ruling, and if it is true, it is another dent on our judicial system.
The recent decision by the court is said to be a slap in the face of the Hamilton Green Council, which has created tension and frustration within the Georgetown municipality by waging war against Suba's appointment. It also represents another accomplishment under the acting town clerk's belt, who has exposed the widespread corruption that exists at the council.
An autopsy performed on the body of Sharon Ford, which washed up at the Kitty seawalls, has proven that she died as a result of drowning. This clears all speculations that foul play was involved in her death. The post-mortem was performed by Dr. Nihal Singh at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Troy Ford, brother of the dead woman, initially suspected foul play, claiming that only a post-mortem examination will clear his doubts. On Friday, during a telephone interview, he said that the body has been released to the family and they are making funeral arrangements for the burial in the new week. Sharon Ford, 45, a former city constable of West Rhineville, Georgetown, was found on Wednesday afternoon after she washed up at the Kitty seawalls. Alexis Rodney now joins us to report that WPA sympathizer Joyce Lindau today said that based on information she received, a shot was fired in the direction of Donald Rodney while he ran from the explosion which killed his brother on the evening of June 13, 1980. Details in this story.
Dow, who emphasized that she was not a member of the Working People's Alliance but was closely aligned to members of its hierarchy, told the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry that based on reports by some persons, a bullet was fired soon after the June 13, 1980 explosion. Although this revelation is new information to the Commission, Chairman Cheltenham said it will not be ignored. Dow said if the gunshot in her estimation was aimed at killing Donald Rodney, the only reported eyewitness to the explosion. The younger Rodney, it has been reported, was handed a package to pass on to his brother by the Army Sergeant Gregory Smith, moments before it exploded. Dow had reported that Donald had a huge wound to his neck when she saw him a few minutes later, but could not say if it was related to the gunshot. Donald Rodney, who was yet to testify at the Commission of Inquiry, had reported that his brother was killed as a result of an explosion while they sat outside the Georgetown prison on June 13, 1980.
Remember, if you have a news tip or a news story you would like our news team to follow, message or WhatsApp us and telephone numbers 680-9630 or 600-3117. You can also call us at our office on 231-0382 or 226-2102 223-723021. The Ghana Telephone and Telegraph Company says that at the current landline tariffs and service charge, the service is a serious impediment to the company and to Guyana as a whole. Details in this story.
The Ghana Telephone and Telegraph Company GT&T says that unless there is an increase in the tariff for landline service, the commodity will be an albatross around the company's neck. This is according to one of the company's senior managers, Jean Evelyn, who made a point during the Public Utilities Commission hearing earlier today. GT&T is requesting permission from the PUC to increase the rates for wireline phone calls. During the presentation, the company executive said that Guyana's landline rates are significantly lower than other rates around the Caribbean. The company said that presently there is little to no revenue being generated from its wireline services here. It was noted that revenue from international long distance has taken a downward spiral. In 2001, the company recorded a 10.8 billion intake in that area and 4.9 in 2013.
A laborer attached to the Barama Company Limited, Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, who could not swim, is feared dead after he plunged into a nearby black-watered canal in the area on Friday afternoon. Up to late this evening, the body of Sean Denzel Hopkinson, 22, of Tamiri, East Bank, Demerara, was not found. A search party consisted of relatives, colleagues, and public-spirited citizens has searched for several hours but was unsuccessful. As a result of the moss in the canal, an excavator was also used to clear the area, but the search party came up empty-handed. According to information received, the young man and his colleagues left the work site at about 11 hours and went to the ball field to get some practice since they were scheduled to play a cricket match and competition later on Friday afternoon. After practicing, the group of young men went to the nearby canal to clean up in preparation for the fun day, which was slated to start at 3 hours. Hopkinson's colleagues were already in the canal when he decided to jump. As he jumped, he went further under the water and ultimately under the moss and never resurfaced. You're watching the evening news. Join us on the other side of the break for more news. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with the evening news. A businessman from Anna Regina was on Thursday remanded to prison until September 17 on a charge for abduction and the possession of narcotics when he appeared before Magistrate Sunil Scares at the Wakenham Magistrates Court. Albert Stephen was not required to plead to the abduction charge. According to police reports, on August 26, during a search at his home in Anna Regina, police found 83.5 grams of cannabis. Stephen pleaded not guilty to that charge. Meanwhile, on the same day, it was alleged that he abducted Ricardo Manchal of Anna Regina after accusing the man of stealing from him. He was not represented by an attorney at law and was therefore remanded to prison. The case was prosecuted by prosecutor Ramsawak Hewant. The Human Services and Social Security Ministry, in collaboration with the Ghana Police Force, today commenced a 2-day training program for police officers on the Sexual Offences Act of 2010 with the aim of making greater prosecution. More details in this interesting Svetlana Marshall report.
The sexual offences training program got off to quite an ironic start this morning at the Felix Austin Police College, as only a handful of the participants turned up to the session 1 hour after it was slated to begin. This did not stop Human Services Minister Jennifer Webster from explaining to those present that the program is designed to edify frontline officers on the Sexual Offences Act, with the aim of paving the way for effective implementation.
We have developed a protocol for ranks of the Guyana Police Force, which is a standard operating procedure which will guide them in dealing with reports when reports come to the respective stations, and how they deal with the reports and what is required of the ranks in terms of the investigating process, so that we would have cases going before the courts not being thrown out.
The Human Services Minister further explained that emphasis is being placed on sections of the Act that allude directly to children. While the government is playing its role, Minister Webster said it is time citizens speak out more against sexual, domestic and interpersonal violence.
If you are aware of something that is going on within your community, you need to report it. In the case of children and child abuse cases, the Child Protection Agency has a hotline. Call the hotline number and give the report. We're not interested in your name. What we're interested in is having the complaint and having the report received in a timely way, so that it could be properly investigated. And once we get all the details of which community it is, the location, the address, and so on, I can assure you that we will promptly address those issues. Part of it is that people in communities have knowledge, and only when something seriously happens, then you hear, oh, well, you know, the father was interfering with this child all the time, or he was beating his wife all the time. So we need to be our brother and sister's keeper, and not to see these issues in isolation as something that is not a matter of our own personal concern. But we should pay attention, because today it might be me and tomorrow it might be you.
Meanwhile, Director of the Child Care and Protection Agency, Anne Green, said the Guyana Police Force has improved with regards to the handling of sexual offences cases involving children. However, she explained that the two-day program will address the weak areas. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
Thanks, Svetlana. National Drainage and Irrigation Authority Chief Executive Officer Lionel Woodsworth said a new pump station will be established at Lima Village on the Essequibo coast. He said that the station will be equipped with a high-capacity 200 cubic feet per second pump that was obtained from the India line of credit. Woodsworth was at the time speaking at a recent special farmers meeting held at Sparta on the Essequibo coast. He said that a request for the station and high-capacity pump was made by farmers for proper drainage and irrigation in the area. Guyana Incorporated today launched a magazine in observance of Mining Week 2014. Svetlana Marshall was at the launching and she filed this report.
A collection of the 7th edition of the Ghana Inc. magazine, which focuses on gold and diamond mining in Guyana, was handed over to the Natural Resources and the Environment Minister Robert Prasad and Guyana Gold and Diamond Miners Association President Patrick Harding today at the ministry. The magazine, which was issued by the Managing Director Frank Sanichara, features eminent gold miners and investors including Trinilal Babulal, who was recently awarded by the government for his outstanding performance in the field. The subject minister said the publication is a timely intervention.
It is one of the more dynamic subsector of our national economy. We can look in terms of its contribution, its job creation potential, but also as a sector that can be easily misunderstood. And we believe that if we're able to have a publication such as Guyana Inc. to work with us in not only in recognizing the contribution of this sector, but also to point to opportunities.
Minister Prasad explained that though the mining sector is experiencing challenges, it is simultaneously making a significant contribution to the development of Guyana. He opined that the media in particular should not limit itself to reporting on the negative aspects of the sector. Guyana Inc. manager said the company is more than pleased to give the world a glimpse of Guyana's growing mining sector.
Every month we print over 10,000 copies. These magazines are delivered in two of the major airlines in Guyana, which is Travel Span and Fly Jamaica. It's in every seat of the aircraft. It's also in all the hotel rooms in Guyana.
The managing director said Ghana Inc. commenced operations approximately 9 months ago with the primary objective of highlighting the positive developments in Guyana. Currently, it is working on the 8th edition. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
A total of 22 audiological and rehabilitation practitioners graduated after approximately 18 months of extensive training in the respective fields. On Thursday, during the graduation ceremony at the Regency Suites, they were urged to serve with distinction. Svetlana Marshall joins us again.
Health Sciences Division Director Wilton Ben, in delivering the charge, told the graduates that though challenges may come, they must always serve with excellence. He had spoken minutes before the Worldwide Mothers Union international trainer Sharon Harper had spoken. This is just the beginning of a great opportunity to make a difference in the lives of Guyanese within the health sector, Harper told the graduates.
Just think of the stroke patient lying helplessly in bed during the early phase of the condition. And by the end of your rehabilitation sessions, think of his joy when he could actually do his activities of daily living once again, and more importantly, return to work.
The Rehabilitation Assistance Training Program in Ghana dates back to 1998. Since then, 7 batches of rehabilitation assistants have graduated following extensive theoretical and practical training sessions in the field. This last batch, which comprised rehabilitation assistants from regions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, endured 18 long months of training at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. The coordinator reported.
Its primary aim is to train assistant or medical rehabilitation personnel in basic technologies in the disciplines of speech and language therapy, occupational therapy, and physiotherapy. These 3 disciplines have been integrated in the implementation of the curriculum. The rehab assistants are expected to provide preventive, therapeutic, and rehabilitative interventions to individuals and families in a variety of settings.
She disclosed that the program has a success rate of over 98%. According to her, the high success rate of the program is due to the selection process, the commitment of tutors and staff in the clinical education of students. Shamika Davanish, a Ghana Defence Force rank who graduated with a distinction in the rehabilitation program, was deemed the best graduating student for the graduating class of 2014. The second best graduating student award went to Denisha McAllister, who also graduated with distinction. In the audiological practitioners program, there were only 4 graduates, with Esther Lang Adolph, who hails from Region 10, topping the batch with a distinction. Her fellow colleagues graduated with credit. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
A 61-year-old vendor was placed on $150,000 bail after he was charged with conspiracy to defraud the Guyana Soft Touch Company. Harold Sampson appeared this morning at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before the presiding magistrate, Judy Latchman. It is alleged that on June 1 at Georgetown, Sampson, along with others, collected 30,000 bales of toilet paper valued at $2,407,000 Ghana dollars from the company with the intention of defrauding it. He pleaded not guilty to the charge. He will return to court on September 30, 2014. This is the Evening News. More news still ahead. Join us after these messages. I'm Michael Young, and you're tuned to the Evening News. The Lions Club of Bartica recently hosted its youth summer camp, educating the young on a number of social issues in the community. The camp was held at the Bartica Secondary School and saw a total of 450 children in attendance during the one-week session. These children were pulled from several nursery, primary and secondary schools in Bartica. They participated in a range of activities such as spelling bee and reading competitions, tie-dye sessions, football camps, and played some cricket. After each session, the participants were treated to refreshments. There were also special lectures on the usage of the road, proper hygiene, and more importantly, keeping their environment clean. These lectures were done during the week. The World Wildlife Fund, Guyana, is looking to intensify the community measurement reporting and verification system and hosted an international exchange workshop over the past week. Details from Vanu Manichan.
The workshop was a collaborative effort between the WWF, the WWF's Forest Carbon Program, the Global Canopy Program, and the Global Forest Observation Initiative, Silver's Carbon Program. It was held from August 23 through 28 at the Roraima R-Point Resort to allow participants easy access to the forest, where they demonstrated their innovative techniques and equipment. WWF Country Manager Dr. Patrick Williams pointed out that Guyana is the only country with the community measurement reporting and verification system in place.
CMRV projects, which have received funding from the Norwegian Agency for Development Cooperation, NORAD. One project saw the development of CMRV systems in 16 communities of the North Rupununi District Development Board, and another project in the YY community of Conishen in providing training for the community to develop its own CMRV, especially while empowering residents to monitor and better manage their own natural resources.
Meanwhile, a representative from the Global Canopy Program noted that the workshop focused on capacity building in the region and training the communities on how to use technology to gather data.
I can walk away from the communities in that area feeling that not only have they got a solid grasp of the technology that they're using, they can take the data themselves and monitor the data and understand the data. They can report on that data both locally to their own two-shares and make use of it in their villages. They can also report it to national level. They can also report it to international level. So I feel now that they have the ability to take control of their own natural resources. They can monitor their own natural resources and make much better decisions about how those natural resources are managed.
Natural Resources and the Environment Minister Robert Prasad said the MRV system is in the advanced stage of development and Guyana is now able to report on the national level deforestation and forest degradation. He underscored the importance of collaborations with agencies such as the WWF to sustain efforts of the MRV system.
The models built on the community monitoring reporting system must be relevant to community needs, while still effective to the technical platform and specification that is required both for monitoring at the international as well as the national levels. In looking at its contribution to effective natural resources management, the Ministry has on several occasions emphasized the importance of having a robust monitoring system for the south of Guyana. We are pleased to be working with WWF to advance this common goal, and the community reporting and verification system developed in Conishen, which accounts for close to 600,000 hectares or 1.5 million acres of forest in our pristine south regions of Guyana, has been supported by the government to ensure that it's given the necessary prioritization.
Guyana was chosen for the workshop as a result of its leadership role as the first country in the world with a functioning national-scale MRV system and a pair of model CMRV projects.
36-year-old Sean Wilderjake of Lot 90 Duke Street, Kingston, was today placed on $100,000 bail for obtaining money by fraudulent means. He appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Judy Latchman. The man allegedly collected $500,000 from Elisa Joseph after pretending to be transacting business on behalf of the owner of a house at Buxton, East Coast, Demerara. He pleaded not guilty to the charge. He was represented by attorney at law Paul Fungafat, who told the court that his client is in the real estate business for 16 years and requested reasonable bail. He is expected to return to court on September 30, 2014. A Partnership for National Unity says that it is imperative that President Donald Ramotar exercise respect for the National Assembly. Here details in this report.
The opposition says that President Donald Ramotar should remember the promises made to Guyana during the PPPC elections campaign in 2010-2011. The party said that one of the promises made was for local government elections, which the president is yet to fulfill. APNU contends that President Ramotar has displayed gross disrespect for the National Assembly by refusing to assent to a local government reform bill, which was passed in the National Assembly. The party said that by not assenting to the bill, the president is also resisting the rule of democracy.
Your regional and international news are next. You're watching the Evening News. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. It's now time for a look at what's happening in the region and the wider world. Trinidad and Tobago will celebrate its 52nd year of political independence from Britain over the weekend, with the Coalition People's Partnership government assured of its plans to amend the constitution, paving the way for how future parliamentarians are elected. The Senate late Thursday night followed the lower house earlier this month and approved a constitution amendment bill that provides for a two-term prime minister, the right to recall legislators, and perhaps the most contentious, the need for an elected candidate to obtain 50% of the votes in a general elections or face a runoff. Now, internationally, Malaysia Airlines is to cut 6,000 staff as part of the recovery plan after being hit by two disasters this year. The reduction in staff numbers represent around 30% of its workforce of 20,000. The airline will become completely state-owned and a new chief executive will eventually be put in place. Investigators continue to hunt for flight MH370, the Kuala Lumpur to Beijing flight which went missing in March. The MH17 air crash in the eastern Ukraine is also under investigation. The plane was shot down on the 17th of July with the loss of all 298 people on board. The recovery plan will cost about 6 billion Malaysian dollars. It's now time for a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed at 5:30 on Saturday, August 30, 2014 for a period of 1.5 hours. The Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 6:40 on Saturday, the 30th of August 2014 for a period of 1.5 hours. Join us on the other side of the break for your sport news. Welcome back. It's now time for a look at what's happening in the world of sport, but of course there are headlines first. Chandrapal to play for the St. Kitts against Bangladesh. Alpha crushed 6-0 by Olympia, and GOA presents automatic timekeeping equipment to the AAG. Our sportscast is brought to you with the kind compliments of Macor.
We believe that everything worth building should be built just once. That is why we build on culture, on trust, on integrity. We exist to do more, better, faster, safer. Your success depends on the foundation it's built on. Everything we do is meant to move you forward. Mark on. Let's build Guyana together.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. It's now time for a look at the sport news in detail. Fredrickson Elvin netted a hat trick to help pace Olympia to a 6-0 win over Alpha United in Group 5 of the CONCACAF Championships League on Thursday night. Olympia, which also beat Alpha 1-0 in their first meeting on August 5, moved into first place. The Portland Timbers are second, while the Alpha United have been eliminated from the competition with a game to play. The Ghana Olympic Association has made available an automatic timekeeping and photo finish system to the Athletics Association of Guyana in order to lift the standard of the sport. Tristan Joseph reports.
Times will now be recognized by the International Association of Athletics Federation here in Guyana after the GOA bought the system that comes equipped with an automatic starting pistol. The US $15,000 piece of equipment was seen as necessary by the president of the GOA, K.A. Jumanyasing, at a presentation on Thursday.
We felt that it was needed at this juncture. We were propelled to get this at the insistence of our good friend Mr. Hudson, who impressed upon us the importance of it. And I believe with the national track that will be completed shortly at Leonora, this may be helpful.
President of the AAG, Aubrey Hudson, was very grateful for such a gesture by the Olympic Association.
We've seen that another step being taken in track and field, where we are moving into, as they call it, the FAT systems that is recognized by the IAF, fully automatic timing system that they recognize, and they post those results on their websites, and it's a reflection of how well your athletes are performing, and it's not left to errors by a track judge or a timekeeper.
Meanwhile, Yasin also made it clear that the GOA will be keeping the equipment while granting permission for the use of the equipment to the AAG as seen fit.
The St. Kitts and Nevis Cricket Association has named the 13-man squad to play the upcoming 3-day match against Bangladesh. The match will be played at Warner Park from Saturday to Monday. Play starts daily at 10 hours. The squad will be led by Jack Taylor. The squad also includes Shiv Chandrapal, who is a guest player. The 40-year-old is the most capped West Indian in Test cricket matches. He has played 156 Test matches since his debut 20 years ago. Chandrapal has scored 11,414 runs at an average of 51.88 per innings, including 29 centuries. That is what is the end of the evening news for today, Friday, August 29, 2014. Please remember to get a copy of tomorrow's edition of the Ghana Times for details of these stories and others. I'm Michael Young. Thank you very much for joining us and encouraging you to have a very productive evening. Goodbye.